Hello my dear listeners, in today's video I will continue to talk about how we can save Canada and make it better for us and for our children. I will cover the education. Education is not really in the jurisdiction of the federal government, but without the education nothing can be achieved. You have to do this systemically. Donald Trump in the United States, he talks about the educational reform. And me, I have been a father of 5 children and having two children in the high school right now, one graduated and one in the primary school. I listen what Pierre Poilievre, the next Prime Minister of Canada, is trying to achieve with the coming reforms.
Is the consequence of the money supply growing vastly quicker than the stuff that money buys. So what we have to do is stop growing the money supply and start growing the stuff money buys, right? Produce more energy, grow more food, build more homes. We have to unleash the free enterprise system to produce more stuff of value. And this is where we have to remove the artificial scarcity that the government is imposing on the population. Let's incentivize our municipalities to grant the fastest building permits.
Okay, so this is a little bit what is the goal. So we have to basically switch from society of government workers and consumers to entrepreneurs. And what is my suggestion as the government? So the basically, well, it's a very long subject, but the main thing I want to say here, which is not the absolute truth, but just like a guidelines for thinking for further and expanding on it. I would give basically those spending, about, let's say, well, in 2022 it was 70,000 in Quebec and in New Brunswick, Ontario was 16,000. It's been 7 and 8%. So it's probably in 2024, 2025, it's probably 20,000 already. In near to that, and this is basically maybe it's a budget numbers, but the real numbers could be even greater when we look into that. But it's not the thing. It's a principle here. What I would do, I would give this money to the parents instead, and this way it's not basically the ministry will be transferred to the parents of the child, and maybe some money can be paid to the children when they are let's say 13, 14, from 13 years old, that they could receive portion of this money along with the parents, so they learn at the same how to invest and how to spend the money also. That's a part of the learning. Well, how I will do this thing, let's say could be a set of the exams that, let's say, 3 times a year that they establish, and based on this, if the child passed these exams, he received according to the results. If the results is great, let's say the maximum will be 20,000 per year per child that the family can receive. And the child more talented in a certain area according to the standard of the program, and eventually even the child who is, let's say, has a difficulty of reading and he makes a progress, he could be rewarded for the progress that he makes and not be evaluated equally, because not everyone is equally, because there's multiple adjustments who's been made, and people, let's say, the parents will be paying, they will be hiring teachers, they will be hiring wherever they decide they will need to succeed the exam, and they will be paying themselves for the exam. So the minister will not need to have anyone to appoint it. There will be people, examinators, and maybe there will be the government. The only thing they could decide is how much the government is charged for the exam. So the people, and they will need to hire the people who will develop the standards for the standards. And the standards could be adjusted from what we need, and we could have a variety of programs, variety of different programs. It doesn't mean there is some children could be reorientated into the sport, some children could be orientated more to manual work, but let's say in the elementary school, really the basic writing and counting, it could be similar for everyone. But later, once the child develops, let's say, I give you an example for my daughters, I would like to see that them maybe have be developed more on a religious side and become mothers. Who is teachers? Nobody will say today we lacking the good mothers, and this is the education, and the school, it's basically the in the opposition of that. So we could have a good traditional school that my point is nobody teaching children very important stuff, and I would like to expand on that, because we can learn international. There's some one I found, there's a billionaire from Kazakhstan who has a set of classes, and something that he thinks important to that the child learns before, like the skills that he acquires in school. Let's take a listen here what he has to say. So, like, the first thing is decision making. My child be able to really make a decision, a responsibility to be responsible for the decision that he makes. Third, time management. It's very, very important to manage the time. Freedom. He talks about freedom, like the he explains that the child cannot have a skill to do nothing by himself. Like, he has to be responsible. Self-reliance, resolving, problem solving, learn from your mistakes. He makes a very long list here of the things that we need to succeed in life, basically. And I think it's essential, and school teaches nothing about this. How about, let's say, I give you an example, something that we have, let's say, with this money that could be paid with the families. Let's say at the 13, 14 years old children could be, gather together and get, a lot from municipality and start building, let's say, townhouses. And imagine that the child who started building townhouses at the age of 13, and he does it, like, let's say, every consistently, and he built a few houses, like, let's say, at the age of 16, when he graduates. I think the school, like, he should be graduated at the age of 16, and let's say he built like 2, 3, 4 houses. That's the skill, and actually those houses, because it's a real thing that the child participate, they could be rented, they could be sold, and he could actually take a revenue from it. So there is lots of there's some kind of these ideas, and of course there's going to be a resistance. It doesn't mean, like, the parents, if you give this parents and children those money, they will be hiring like all the same people that are hired. They probably, half of the schools will be closed, maybe more than half. Maybe there's not going to be needed school buses and etc., etc. But the quality of the education, in my opinion, will rise, and I'm pretty sure lots of the parents will be in agreement with that. And actually, the mothers, let's say you have 2, 3 children at school, and you receive up to 20,000, depending, let's say you receive between 13 and 20,000 per year per child, and this money could be actually tax-free, because it's a kind of allowance for education. So we solve the problem of unemployment. We solve the people, like, let's say that if there is mothers who collecting welfare now and sitting with their child, she could actually take care of their education instead of collecting welfare. And there is going to be less unemployment. There is going to be actually more children, because the last thing I would like to show is it's a pyramid of the population of Quebec. But I'm pretty sure if I take this and I apply this to any kind of Western country, it's going to be the same. Like, it's the problem of the aging of the population. So we have to be seriously, and if we want to achieve a new society, it has to be reform every aspect, and education, it's a major aspect that cannot be neglected. If everything municipal, provincial, and federal, it has to work together. And that's how we're gonna save the Canada and turn things around. So I'm gonna continue my series talk about. I'm gonna make more of those videos. And please, if you parent and you're watching this, share your support this video by liking it if you find the information relevant, and please comment to share your opinions. And thank you very much for watching.